Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker, and thank you to the honourable member for Wimbledon for bringing this debate this evening. Regardless of the rosette, I will challenge any politician when they say that the NHS is broken. It's not broken. It's just underfunded. And the NHS is starved of the resources it needs to function to its very best. And Madam Deputy Speaker, on these benches, we are enormously proud of the NHS and its founding principles. The right to free at the point of use healthcare, universal and comprehensive. Because money should never be the passport to the very best treatment. People should get the best that modern science can offer. It's our greatest creation and it's socialism in action. And as the NHS endures another hard winter, so must Labour's founding principles also endure. Because for the NHS, the solution shouldn't always be the private sector. The private sector receiving an extra £2.5 billion a year in government funding to cut waiting lists is not one of the principles of either the NHS or the Labour Party. And in the earlier back and forth between honourable members of how to find money, it doesn't necessarily have to mean cuts. I'll suggest an annual wealth tax. Madam Deputy Speaker, in Scotland our hospices remain under enormous strain. Annually, approximately 21,000 adults and children receive expert palliative, end-of-life care and bereavement support. The heads of all 14 hospice charities in Scotland have said that their sector is in the grip of an insurmountable funding gap, and staff have openly spoken of the dire possibility of budget shortfalls reaching the point where there will be no other option but to introduce service reductions. And of course, staff will do everything in their power to avoid that happening. But that is the stark reality of where palliative end-of-life care is in Scotland. The hospice sector needs the Scottish Government to provide further financial support to address the shortfall in statutory funding not keeping up with increased costs. This, coupled with the Scottish Government needing to deliver on its promise of a new national funding framework for hospice care, is desperately needed so hospices can prepare for the long term.
On that point, will the member give way?
I will.
I thank the honourable member for giving way. Would he agree with me that the Secretary of State for Health repeatedly tells us that all roads lead to Westminster when it comes to funding? So would he agree with me that the Scottish Government is only able to do what it can with the resources made available by Westminster?
Thanks very much to the honourable member. I would say that the Scottish Government need to do much better with the resources that they've been given. And Madam Deputy Speaker, further on the topic of funding, hospices also rely on financial donations. People, the length and breadth of the UK, raise so much for hospices. And naturally, many loyal supporters of the hospice sector have not been immune to the bankrupt political ideology of austerity, and then the following cost of living crisis has seen ordinary people become poorer. Out of control energy bills, escalating food costs, sky-high mortgages and rents, and overall, the general erosion of living standards means donations are an expenditure many people can simply no longer afford. The rebuilding of wider society cannot happen without the rebuilding and investment in the vital public services people rely on, and that includes a properly funded and resourced health and social care system which has the same principles and ethos as it had when Labour created it.